Hello, hello, hello. It's Mike here, and welcome back to the Let's Talk podcast. This is season 1, episode 4. Today I'm going to talk to you about why using your body weight as a metric of success isn't always the best use of your time or effort. I think we can all agree that when it comes to health and fitness, tracking your progress is essential. After all, what gets tracked gets improved. But many people instinctively turn to the scales as their primary tool for measuring any kind of success. While monitoring your body weight can provide some insights to overall trends, relying on it as the main indicator for progress can be a bit misleading, discouraging, and even quite counterproductive. The truth is, your body weight fluctuates for numerous reasons, many of which have nothing to do with any kind of fat loss or muscle gain. And understanding these fluctuations and exploring alternative ways to measure your progress can lead to a much healthier and more sustained fitness journey. But why is body weight so unreliable? Well, one of the biggest reasons why body weight is an unreliable metric is that it fluctuates daily due to various reasons, such as how many carbohydrates you've consumed that day. Now, although protein and carbohydrates share the same amount of calories per gram, which is 4, for every carbohydrate you eat, that will pull anywhere between 3 or 4 grams of water into the cells within your body. This is often known as water weight. We then have things like your sodium intake or how much salt you've eaten. If you've eaten foods that are naturally high in salt, this can cause more water retention because your body will try and dilute the excess sodium by holding on to more water. Your body weight can also fluctuate due to hydration levels, stress, what time of the day it is, how much you've eaten that day, and how many times you've been to the toilet. Ladies, it's no secret that your body weight will fluctuate depending on where you are in your cycle. For example, week 1 of your cycle, your body weight can spike as much as 2.5 kilograms. Again, due to water retention, bloating, and hormone fluctuations. Obviously, this is subjective to the person, and not every female will experience this spike. I'll go into a little more detail around this a little bit later. We've also got something that I learned quite recently as well. I'm always learning. And that's your body weight can spike due to inflammation within the body after a tough workout. Now, I do need to look into this a little bit more, so leave that one with me, and maybe we'll cover that in another podcast. But as you can see, there's so many factors that can be responsible for your body weight fluctuating. All this without even bringing in the thought of the amount of body fat you may or may not be carrying. And so it's understandable for someone to become frustrated if they're using the number on the scale as their only metric for success. A person can wake up in the morning feeling really lean, but then weigh more than they did the day before. Again, leading to unnecessary frustrations if they solely rely on the scale. Another major flaw in using your body weight to measure any kind of progress is that it doesn't differentiate between fat and muscle. When we start on a fitness journey, especially one that includes strength training, it's common for individuals to gain muscle whilst losing fat. And while we're here, no, muscle does not weigh more than fat. You may have heard that. A kilogram of muscle weighs exactly the same as a kilogram of fat. It's just that muscle is denser than fat, and so likely won't take up as much room on your body. But again, the scale doesn't reflect fat loss or muscle gain. So there's no clear view of how, when, or if we're actually making any changes to our overall body composition. Now, for the ladies out there, we also need to factor in your menstrual cycle. For women, hormonal fluctuations throughout the menstrual cycle can significantly impact your body weight. Many experience increased water retention, bloating, and temporary weight gain in the days leading up to and during week 1 of your period. This is completely natural. But if a woman steps on the scales during this time, it's all too common that she may feel discouraged even though her true progress remains unchanged. Additionally, excessive focus on your body weight can contribute to stress and anxiety around natural bodily changes, detracting away from your overall well-being. I think it's important to note here that with my female clients, I get them to record their body weight a minimum twice a week throughout the month. From here, we can look back and compare their weight fluctuations over a typical 28-day menstrual cycle, comparing week 1 to week 1, week 2 to week 2, and so on. But bear in mind, the cycle of some women can be up to 35 days. So just remember, record the data accordingly. We also need to look at digestion and food intake. the timing of your meals, the types of meals you're eating, your digestion, your bowel movements, these can all influence daily weight fluctuations. Eating a meal with high fiber content, for example, can lead to temporary weight gain due to the increased food volume in your digestive system, i.e., how much space has been taken up in your stomach. This doesn't mean that fat has been gained, yet many people misinterpret these changes as setbacks. While we're talking about body weight as well, I'd like to touch on slimming clubs, such as Weight Watchers, Slimming World, etc. If you know me, you'll know I generally feel a certain kind of way about these sorts of clubs, mainly because it falls to us personal trainers to repair the damage these toxic clubs create around people's understanding and their relationship to body weight. I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second. I had a client once who joined a slimming club in her early 20s, and after doing her first weigh-in in front of the whole group, the person leading the group said these words, "Wow, I bet you're glad you started coming today, aren't you?" Now, of course, this is one of probably 100 occurrences that might happen, but this interaction stayed with my client until her late 30s. And so many slimming clubs claim to offer support and community, but they often rely on outdated, restrictive dieting methods that reinforce negative relationships to their body weight. They even create their own language, using words such as sins. Now, this just paints a negative connotation around different types of food groups, and then the "I can't eat this" mindset comes into play. These clubs frequently use weekly weigh-ins as a primary measure for success, and these can lead to feelings of shame and discouragement or even judgment when your natural fluctuations occur. Instead, these clubs should be promoting long-term education around health and fitness and nutrition, and creating an environment that thrives on success, not one that's defined by how low the number is on the scales. And of course, slimming clubs, they have their own financial model. They have to make money. I get that. But I hate the way that they thrive on capitalizing on people's insecurities and miseducation around their body weight, when at the end of the day, a person's body weight is just their relationship to Earth through gravity. These clubs use membership fees, branded food products, and special diet plans to keep individuals locked in of a cycle of dependency rather than empowering them with correct knowledge around fitness and nutrition. They make people feel like they've failed when they've gained weight, or maybe they've not even lost weight that week. These programs are designed to make sure people keep coming back, just like dangling a carrot in front of a donkey's nose. They ultimately prioritize profit margins over the well-being of their members. So we've looked at why the number on the scale isn't the best metric for success. But how do we measure our progress to make sure that we're moving in the right direction and we're not falling behind in our goals? Instead of solely relying on the scale, I've got a few methods here that I'd like you to consider. I use these myself, I use these with my clients, and they can often be more reliable to track your progress. First of all, we've got progress photos. Now, this by far is my number one method to show any kind of success on your journey. We've all heard the phrase, "the camera never lies." Well, it's true. You see your body every day. Your partner sees your body every day. So the two most reliable sets of eyes in your life aren't really ever going to notice the minute changes that your body composition is making. So by documenting your journey through photographs, this can show a clear progression. Now, I know most of you don't like looking at yourselves in the mirror. Just take it, save it on your phone, and move on. You don't even need to look at it week to week. Even if you compare day 1 to day 60, these photos will always tell if you're moving in the right direction or not. Something to consider though, if you are taking photos, it's always worth taking them in the same spot with the same lighting, preferably wearing the same clothes. Another one of my favourite methods for measuring success is body measurements. Again, it's something I get my clients to do twice a week. Using a measuring tape to track inches lost or gained in key areas such as your chest. Ladies, I always say measure around where your bra strap would lie. Your waist, your hips, your thighs and your biceps can all give more insight than tracking just your weight alone. The reason I suggest these locations on your body are because these are typically the sites where people store most of their excess fat. Women is typically around your back a bit more, whereas typically men, they'll hold it around the waist or the stomach. And this can be a really useful tool to improve your relationship with your body weight, because many people experience significant reductions of inches without drastic change to their body weight. Another really powerful tool for measuring success is goal setting. And this is something I'm really big on. And it can be often known as process or outcome goals. All too often, people focus too much on outcome goals, which can easily leave you disheartened. For example, I want to weigh X kilograms by X date. But what happens if you don't reach that target body weight? What happens when you do reach it? What then? Where do you go from there? Do you just stop? Is that the end of your journey? And what happens when your weight inevitably fluctuates again, like we've just covered? Have you just then set yourself up for failure without realizing it? And this is the drawback of setting an outcome goal. Instead, if you were to focus on what we call process goals, you'd then have the opportunity to celebrate little wins along the way, without the pressure of keeping to a strict, overbearing target. Process goals can often look like, I want to deadlift my body weight by the summer. I'd like to be able to increase my flexibility so I don't ache picking up my grandchildren. Things like this. Tracking improvements in strength, endurance, and overall fitness levels is one of the most rewarding ways to measure any kind of progress on a fitness journey. So lifting heavier weights, running a longer distance, performing more repetitions of an exercise all show progress and areas of growth in a way that scales can't. And finally, another metric of success that doesn't show on the scales is how does your clothes fit? Noticing changes in how your clothes fit is a practical and really encouraging way to assess progress. So many of our clients love finding that their jeans are fitting a bit better, or their shirt isn't gaping at the front, or that dress that they've had in the wardrobe for months finally feels good on. Again, the scales may not have moved much, but having your clothes fit a little bit better tells a much clearer story than where the needle points to. So to wrap up, while tracking your weight can provide a general overview of progress, it's far from the most reliable metric. Weight fluctuates daily due to hydration, digestion, hormonal cycles, the changes in muscle mass, making it a really inconsistent tool and sometimes quite misleading. Instead of fixating on the number on the scales, try incorporating multiple forms of progress tracking, such as body measurements, progress photos, strength improvements, and how your overall well-being is. Even something as small as walking up the stairs without getting out of breath, that can show progress. This will provide a more accurate and encouraging picture of your success and will be much better for your mindset. By shifting your focus away from your body weight alone, it allows you to build a healthier mindset and habits to lead you down a more sustainable fitness journey. If you've got any questions or thoughts on what we've talked about today, I'd love to read them in the comments, or feel free to message me on Instagram. It's MikeMatthews.PT, or you could even drop us an email, which is hello@coachbymatthews.com. We do always love hearing the feedback that we get, whether it's good or not so good. I'll leave all the details for that in the show notes below. And remember guys, like, subscribe and share to your socials because it means so much more than you know. Thanks for listening guys. Don't be scared to reach out. We'll catch you on the next episode.